Okay, we are live. Good evening, folks. My name is Karan Vaid. I'm an office manager at DogSpot. Today we have a fantastic session with animal psychic and energy healing practitioner Husein Harniswala. He's based out of Gurgaon. Hold on, guys. Sorry about that. Getting phone
No.
calls. Please don't have your phones on at this moment. And he is, as I said, animal psychic and an energy healing practitioner. Hussein, it's fantastic to have you with us. Can you just tell us a
Thank
little
you
bit?
so much, Karan. Yeah, so I'll so it's a very different topic that we'll be talking about today. So I'll give you a gist about what is animal psychic and what is a healing practitioner. So basically, a psychic is a person who can see beyond the naked eye, which a normal human being can see. A psychic can see beyond that.
Okay.
So that's where we tap into the sub to the so it's like the awareness levels are way beyond a normal human being,
Hmm.
where we can tap into the energy space of people as well as animals and understand how is their emotional, how is their energetic, how is their soul health doing, and tap into those energy space, and then figure out that what are the triggers of any issue that the animal is going through or the human is going through, and therefore work towards healing that those aspects using various modalities.
Uh-huh. Uh,
Yeah.
uh, Hussein, we in our pre-interview call last week, we were speaking, and you spoke about how you got into animals in this field. So, can you just tell us how long you've been doing this, how you got into this, what were you doing before?
So yeah, so I'm born in Sri Lanka. I'm brought up in Calcutta, and
Uh-huh.
then I moved to Delhi for my further studies, and then I started my job in Gurgaon. So I
Okay.
started working in 2014, and in 2015 was the time when things turned around, and obviously there was something that was meant to happen. So
Uh-huh.
the journey just shifted when I met Kamal, who
Uh-huh.
is my mentor still, who was my mentor, and now she's my working partner as well. We work together.
Okay.
So that is the time when she was already into this profession of healing and psychic modalities,
Uh-huh.
where she she also helped me identify these qualities in me, that I had this intuitiveness and this capability of connecting with animals. So everyone has a purpose in life, right?
Yeah.
So my thing was to identify what my purpose was, and what I figured out was that it was something to do with animals, and that's how I started practicing in 2015. So it took me about a year to be 100% sure that now it's the time to take that plunge to quit my job. So I was working that time in
What kind
2015.
of, before we have Mehnaz saying hello to you. Hi, Sandeep. Hi, Mehnaz. Good to
I,
have you guys with us and viewing our channel. Mehnaz is a regular, so is Sandeep. Coming back to you, Hussein, what were you doing before in 2015?
so I was working as a market researcher. So in a market research firm,
Okay.
I worked there for about two plus years.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2016, second half is when I quit the job and then decided that I want to take this up as a full-time profession now, because I
Uh-huh.
was confident and I was really sure of myself that this is something that works, and it does help people around.
Oh,
Especially there's a lot that because that 1 year I had certain great experiences. Because in 2015, the way I started off is I started boarding first. So I used to do dog home boarding, and that is when I met a lot of pet parents and the pets who used to stay at my place.
so
The pets.
you were running dog boardings in Gurgaon in
Yes, in
2015.
15, yes, in Gurgaon only.
Okay.
So I did that for about 1.5 years. So that
Mm-hmm.
was the period where a lot of people got to know about me as well. That this is something I do apart from the boarding.
Okay.
And the parents who used to come to me to keep their pets at our place, I used to tell them that these are the things that I pick up. It was very naturally that was coming to me, that from the dog I used to be aware that this is the issue the dog is having, or this is something that can be worked upon. So I used to tell the pet parents about that, and whoever was driven to go for it, we used to work and heal the animal.
So tell me, so this is something that you felt like it came to you intrinsically, naturally, and from the beginning.
Yeah, it
Whenever you
came.
get, you would feel something about the dog or the pet.
Yeah, so basically, thanks to Kamal as well here, because she's a teacher who pushes you in the
So
water
hold
and
on.
asks you to.
Before we talk about Kamal, we have a lot of time we're going to dedicate to Kamal. We know that she is a very
Right.
special mentor and she's also a partner. We'll spend some time
True.
talking about her immediately. I just want to know, like, did it happen to you before and you sought out a mentor? Or did it, or is something that was happening together, or you decided you had a natural gift for this?
So I have been very intuitive since I was a kid.
Uh huh.
I used to be very introvert when I was a kid, and then uh, I used to spend most of my time with watching birds, spending time with them. I had being from a Muslim background, I used to still spend time with dogs, taking care of the streets back home in Calcutta. So there was
Okay.
that connection which was already there. But
Uh
obviously,
huh.
when you have responsibilities and you want to do something in life, obviously there is a societal pressure as well. So then
Hmm.
this thing just went away. Like I never was able to figure this thing out. So, and universe has had other plans, and eventually when I met Kamal is when I realized that I have that intrigueness. Where I was very keen in knowing these things, like how do these things work, what is energy, how does it work. So I started working on myself as well. So there were long hours of meditation that I started doing, started working on myself, and then I figured out that I could pick up on the emotional traits, the energetic field of animals, and that's how it all began. So then I
Very interesting.
decided that let's start practice and see how it goes.
Before we move on and we delve deeper into Kamal's contribution towards you and her mentorship, Menaz has asked a question, and I think we should have started with this: is what specific kind of healing you're actually into? Thanks, Menaz, for asking that question.
Yeah, so there are different types of modalities that exist when it comes to healing. So mine is, I've not given it a very particular name as per se. I call it as more of intuitive healing through intense meditation. So when
Uh-huh.
I so it's like I connect to my higher self and connect to the higher self of the animal, and then whatever through. So I have my spirit guides who help me do this. So obviously
Okay.
you must have heard of angels and spirit guides, people
Well,
who are there.
yeah. Can you
So
elaborate further on spirit guides?
so these are basically could be your ancestors, somebody who has crossed over and is out there in the universe, who is
Okay.
trying to be with you, who has taken that responsibility to
Uh-huh.
be your guide. So that's why they are called. So they are spirits and they are guides. So they are
Okay.
always there with you. And so a lot of people, if you see, they get this awareness of that I feel that I'm doing this and this is not right, or I'm doing this and I should be doing it like this. There's that
Okay.
inner voice speaking, right? So those are
Uh-huh.
your spirit guides who are also trying to help you. And sometimes when you're stuck in a situation,
Uh-huh.
you come across somebody who suddenly comes and helps you out. So even
Can you
they come as.
can you speak a little bit about your spirit guides? Do you, are you? I mean, would you like sharing that information with us? Like, who exactly is your spirit guide?
So they have my grandmother and my grandfather. So
Okay.
they're very much around me all the time, and they help me a lot
Uh huh.
in everything that I do.
Uh huh.
Yeah, and apart from then, that it's the divine energies, right? Like whatever we do, it's like there's a white light which is the existence of everything, the energy around us. So
Uh huh.
I always have that thing in my visual or feeling that there is some super power out there who is guiding us, and I connect to that, and then I receive information through that.
This is fantastic. Guys, please ask your questions below. Please keep it a little general so Hussein can help us. We have a great opportunity to and we have Hussein here. He's fairly qualified to answer these questions. While we wait for our viewers to ask questions, I can ask you how, like, suppose I would like to channel my inner spirit guide. How does
Yeah.
one go about doing that? How do I know that I have found a spirit guide? How does it work?
So
Or do
that
I
is
need
something.
a mentor like
Yeah.
Kamal to?
Yeah, you'll need somebody to help you and guide you there.
Uh-huh.
So I think I can
How
share
does
the
one
contact of Kamal.
how
Yeah,
does one
sorry.
start? How does one go about? Let's say
So
you
it
you have to be open to it. I would imagine, right? You have to be
right.
open to the concept. A lot of people will they will you. I'm sure you have drawn your share of criticism for your practice. How does one go
Definitely.
about doing something like this?
So firstly, you need to be very, as you said, you need to be very open to this idea, because if you do not believe in these things, you're already creating a barrier to identifying or being more aware of things. So it's basically awareness that you need to work on. So the
Okay.
more aware of yourself and your surroundings, the more you can work towards finding these things out. So the initial step, once you are sure that you believe in these things, you want to uh, take this journey ahead, then you start working on yourself in terms of meditation,
Uh-huh.
identifying what are your vices, trying to work on them. So as you start, so it's like self healing that you need to go through. So that process of self healing itself, once you start getting into that process, you'll start identifying and finding a lot of things around that. You for a normal person, it's like, this how does this exist? Like, so once you start that journey is when you'll start discovering a lot of new things.
It's very interesting because you alluded to this before about societal pressure. One has to be open, but one has to strike a balance. Maybe we're into
Mhm.
this conversation too soon, and we should dwell further into your background. But since you have already spoken a little bit about societal pressures, family pressures,
Right.
how do you deal with that? How does your family deal with it? How does society deal with it? When you come across people, I've had the pleasure of interacting with some more animal communicators and nature and communicators with nature,
Nature.
as you already know. But how? And this is one of my favorite questions to ask. How do you deal with that? And what are some of the criticisms that you face?
See, that definitely, they see everybody has their own point of view about things, right? So the best thing, the best approach to this is to not be judgmental towards the opinions and the point of view which others have about you. So obviously,
Uh-huh.
because they are on their own journey of discovering themselves, and they have their karmic journey to discover and a lot of lessons to learn. So for them, it's like, if they are not open to this subject, you can't really, tell them, okay, or it's better not to take it personally. So
Yeah.
not being judgmental and not taking it personally.
Uh-huh.
That's how I approach to such things. And
Uh-huh.
definitely being like, I do believe in past lives as well. And
Okay.
coming from a Muslim background, it's like, a lot of people say, okay, no, we do not believe in past lives or its impact on the present life and things like that. But then
Uh-huh.
I have to be, because it's my thing, I've experienced it, and I can see the difference which, when you work on past life issues and work on animals or even humans, there's a very major impact that happens. So I know how powerful that is. So that's why I believe it. And it's my point of view, it's my belief system. And I have nothing like, obviously, the others have their own way of looking at things. Every
Uh-huh.
person has their own views. So I'm like, I do not retaliate or take it personally.
Fair enough. And I think you need to have some kind of, as I already alluded to before, and I mentioned before in our pre-interview, that obviously everyone has to have a little bit of a thick skin in any
Yeah.
industry, not just yours, to be successful. And you've been doing this since 2015. So, and
Right.
for our viewers out there, this is the first thing I asked Hussein, how long have you been doing this and how many clients? And, his answer was hundreds. So, I mean,
Yeah.
he's been doing this for some time. He's fairly successful at it, and he has a batch of he has a very hardcore clients who always keep coming back to him. So, and we're going to speak a little about that as we continue this journey. Can we, we've spoken so much about Kamal. Can you introduce us to Kamal? Can you talk a little bit about her, and maybe we can have her on with us on for a few minutes on the screen.
Sure. Sure. So, do you want me to ask her to join now? Or?
Hold on, guys. I have my dog over here, so he wants to go for a
Yeah.
walk. Maybe you can tell him to be a little quiet. Pasha. He doesn't listen to me. Sorry, I'm so sorry. If we can squeeze it into the frame, I'm going to try
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
There you
Hi,
go.
Karan.
Hi, Kamal. I'm so happy to have you here with us. And can you just talk a little bit about yourself?
So, thank you, Karan, for this opportunity. And what a lovely audience we have. I'm noticing Mehnaz and
Mona Lisa.
one of them playing with a pen conversation. I'm just
I
reading
think
that.
there's something happening in the background. Guys. This is my wife trying to
Yeah,
make.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
uh, my wife has got me started like you are Hussein's mentor, right, Kamal? I have a
Yes.
mentor too, and that's my wife, and she has all the pens and all that, and I get really hardcore into it, so I kind of stolen this pen. So that's the backstory about it. She's not very happy
Yeah,
about it, but
yeah.
it's comes with the territory. Moving on. So, Kamal, tell us a little bit about yourself. Let's do it really quick because this is Hussein's session. Tell us
Yes.
about how you guys got to know each other and what kind of working relationship you guys have.
So, Hussein and I met back in 2014 through a common subject, which I
Uh-huh.
would not talk about here.
Uh-huh.
Um, I was already into healing work.
Uh-huh.
I'm a psychic by profession. I
Uh-huh.
work on various healing modalities.
Uh-huh.
And when I met Hussein, I saw that he's very intuitive by nature. And I tried, exploring this capacity inside him, within him, because
Okay.
it's very rare to find people who have, this skill inside. Also, one of my favorite things of doing is, identifying life purposes in somebody and then driving them, pushing them into that direction. I love doing that, whether they like it or not.
Kamal, you know what? You opened
Yeah.
yourself up to this. How long does it take you to find a life's purpose? Do you feel it?
Oh, it's taken me. Let's not go there. Do you want a spiritual answer or a practical answer?
No, I want a selfish answer. I want to know what do you think is my life's purpose. Let's do it.
Your
I
life
want,
purpose.
like, what do you feel?
For you, you're asking for you?
Yes, yes, for me. Let's do
Okay.
it very fast. Let's test. Let's put you to the test, and let's.
Okay, I
Guys,
like this.
Kamal, before you answer, this is for all of you guys out there, for all our audience members. There are certain perks that comes with being if you work with DogSpot. I would like to, I'm just a lowly office manager, but sometimes there are certain perks, and these are one of them. We have the pleasure of interviewing such fantastic guests, and we have Hussein that we're going to talk about dogs with, but Kamal has an entire speciality of past life regression and everything that she's described right now. And since I have access to her, I'm going to ask her quick, and that's one of the things, guys. So
So
there you go.
you already are on your life purpose, Karan. You're just not consciously aware of it, but
No, no.
unconsciously you're already on it.
Uh-huh.
And sitting right there and having this conversation with so many people,
Uh-huh.
you can't call yourself just an office manager anymore, So,
I'm happy to be. I think I work in a fantastic environment, Kamal, and we are surrounded with dogs. I have a dog.
mhm.
We are friends. We have such a friendly setup, and we've been doing it for so long. And Rana asked me, "Can you just do this because of the lockdown and what have you?" And I said, "Okay." So it's that you mentioned it. It's not like I have a thing, but it's a great thing to interact with you with. Like, what do you feel is my life's purpose?
So, like I said, you're already on it,
Uh huh.
and you started your journey as uh, as working, employed, taking care of offices, administration work, whatever your profile covers.
That's true.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but on the other side, look at where you are right now in this present moment. What are you doing?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. You're
Yeah.
right.
Do you feel that there is something bigger lying ahead of you? I feel so with regards to just what you're doing right now. So
Uh-huh.
I would say keep yourself, open to all the ideas that are coming your way. Keep
Uh-huh.
yourself open to opportunities and keep yourself open to the curiosity that develops inside your own system.
Uh-huh. That's
You'll
very
be
well.
surprised. Yeah, you'll be surprised with a lot of information and the inquisitive nature that you have
Uh-huh.
can be identified also as one of your strengths.
Okay.
So keep going, keep going. I
Thank
somehow
you.
see you on the path already.
Okay. Okay. I,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I hope you're right. I hope you're right. We are always looking for for new opportunities in
Oh, Rana is listening to this conversation, I'm sure.
hold on. Rana is a fantastic manager, and he always pushes us in the right direction. So there is no question about it. And he's always saying, "Please go ahead." I mean, Rana's history in itself, it's fantastic how he started and all. So we're always inspired by Rana. So I think I would know, how this is called being. He's clapping for me when I'm saying this. See this? Actually not, but I can cheat right now because I have control over the screen. So
Yeah.
Kamal, I'm sorry to take away from your moment here. Can you just tell us a little bit about how long you've been doing this for and how you started?
So, okay, I professionally started in 2013, towards the end of 2013. I've been on this since then, but
Uh-huh.
I've been uh, I've been doing this for like the longest time, as much as my soul memory can talk to me of.
Okay.
Um, because of the way everything comes very, very naturally, very instantly. I'm extremely grateful to the universe for these, these capabilities and skills. uh, it is when I met Hussein back in 2014. Later, after I had began already, and it's amazing to see that within a couple of months how my plate got full with work, and
Okay.
it was like animals and humans as well, because I used to work with a lot of rescues. I used to work with a lot of street animals. I've been always also drawn to animals and dogs, very, very specifically in nature.
Uh-huh.
And when I met Hussein and I saw the intuitiveness inside him, I was like, okay, let's play around here. Let's play a bit here. And necessity is the mother of all inventions, I guess. So what
Uh-huh.
did I do? I was like, okay, Hussein, you know what? I have a case here. Can you just help me? Can you just tell me what you think? And can you tell me what you feel about this case? And because, when you sit down with a case, it takes time, it takes energy. A lot of energy, time is invested into that particular case. So for me, it was more like, okay, yes, he's intuitive, I can take advantage of him. And in the process, let's see what comes out. And he would tell me what he's reading, he would tell me what he's picking up on. Wow, it was all right. How does it get any better than this, So I was like, okay, let's do it. Let's do it more. And slowly by slowly, we were like, okay, let's go one step at a time. Let's not jump into it.
Okay.
And that's how we all began.
How long did it take you to get Hussein to that level that you felt like, yes, he can go ahead and do this? Or was it like an independent thing? Anyway, he was doing it on his own and you were just guiding him.
It was never this thing of you going independent. It was never this thing of I'm going to be there all the time. It was
Okay.
just about, okay, I received a case, for example, and it was an urgent case. I didn't have time at that point of, in that moment, I was like, okay, Hussain, I need you here. Okay.
Hmm.
And I remember there were times that I would literally drag him out of his office cabin, and I would be
Okay.
like, okay, you know what, I don't care, just look into this one right now. Okay. So he'd be like, he would get irritated and worked up, but I would still do that. And he would.
It was a great laugh at that expense. He can remember old memories. It's coming back to him when we
Right.
put him out of his office space. There you go. He's hiding and laughing. Funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I would like literally tell him, okay, get out of whatever you're doing right now and just help me with this one. It's really urgent and I'm in the middle of so much. And you'd
Uh-huh.
be like, okay, give me 5 minutes. The nice thing is, he would just say yes instantly, and I'm like, okay, let's do this. So he would get back to me and he would say, this all that I'm getting. This is all that I'm picking up, and I'm like, okay, then resolve it. Why are you telling me? So resolve it, you know. And he would sit and resolve it at work. Sometimes I
Wow.
would be like, okay, just go 1 hour late. I used to feel really bad about that, but I was like, okay, go 1 hour late, but just do this, okay? And
Uh-huh.
slowly, steadily, we were like, okay, how do the people start accepting us? How do the people start accepting you as an animal communicator? That was
Uh-huh.
a huge, fear factor
Okay.
because, like you said, he's a Muslim and he wasn't very sure of that background. So we're like,
Uh-huh.
okay, listen, just go slowly, take it easy, let your work speak for you.
What about
You know.
you? We have spoken about Hussein's background. We'll speak a little bit about yours also, Kamal. Like, how did your family take it? How did you deal with societal opinions?
So I'm a rebel by nature. Okay,
Uh-huh.
I don't
Uh-huh.
give choices. I just put
Uh-huh.
it on the table, and I'm like, this is what I'm doing, and I'm doing it, whether you
Okay.
like it or not. In the case of my family, I think they're still coming to terms with all this. It's okay.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Yeah, even though it's been. I'm sorry.
They're still dealing with it right now. They're figuring out
Yeah, they're
how to.
still dealing. Yeah, they're still dealing with it. So
Okay.
it's okay. My background is that I've been born and brought up in Kenya. My
Uh-huh.
parents are still there. I
Wow.
moved to India. I moved to India when I was 17, and I've been here since then. My
Uh-huh.
entire family is not in India. It's like all over the place, all over the globe.
Uh-huh.
So that's about me personally speaking. I was into financial auditing with one of the big companies here in Gurgaon, which is
Okay.
G Capital,
Uh-huh.
which is G Capital. Yeah, I worked there for 7 years, but then after that, I always knew I'm in the wrong profile. It never worked out for me. So I
Uh-huh.
just abruptly one day left my job, and the rest is history.
Wow. And how long ago did you do this?
I'm
You said
sorry.
you started in 2013, you said, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
So, and,
Towards
and
the end.
okay. So towards the end of 2013 is when you started doing what you do. But you work primarily with human beings.
Yes,
And
throughout. Yes.
and Hussein is works with animals. Hussein, you don't work with human beings, right? Work primarily with animals.
I do only if I'm driven to. Like I don't. I'm out there for animals, but if I get a case which I'm driven to do, I do take up human cases as well.
Okay, so we have Atisha Arora here who's saying that you can speak to animals like nobody can. I'm guessing
Thank you so much,
she's one
Atisha.
of our clients or she's a friend.
She's a friend as well as a client. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Kamal, thank you so much for being with us. Let us probably schedule a one-on-one with you as well. We would love to have you. Our audience and our guests here would love to have you speak at length. And let's take that up for another future session. Let's focus back on Hussein for a bit, and we will speak a little bit about his history and his cases and his ideas right now. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you
Kamal.
so much, Karan. Thank you so much, beautiful audience. Thank you.
You're welcome. Uh, we have uh, we have Hussein back with us. Hussein, thank you so much for introducing Kamal to us. We are so happy to
Yeah.
have her. Can you hear us right now?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We can. For our audience members, guys, please can you do us a favor and can you give us a thumbs up or a like if you like this content? It really goes a long way in helping us come up with offbeat content like the way we're producing right now. Guys, please, it's a very easy thumbs up. Please go ahead and do that right now. And from with that, we'll be able to get more content like this for you guys on a daily basis if we can. Coming back to you, Hussain, when we spoke before, you said you have dogs. Can you speak a little bit about the dogs you have? Do you have them around you? And how long have you had them for?
Yeah, so I was a father of two dogs, and like 2 weeks back it's the number has increased to three because we've adopted the third one.
Uh-huh.
So right now they are in the other room because the small one, the puppy Mikey, if he would have been here, he wouldn't let me speak right now to you. So so it's our house help who's taking care of them in the other room.
Uh-huh.
So he's an indie pup.
Three dogs. You have three dogs.
Three dogs.
What are the names?
It's Lily, Rosie, and Mikey. So Lily is an indie male, and Rosie is a female lab. Both are 8 years now, and Mikey is he's going to be 3 months now.
Okay.
He's an indie, and I adopted him from Delhi only.
Okay. So you have one lab and you have two indies. But
Right.
Lily and Rosie are 8 years old, you said, and
True.
Mikey is 3 months. Is a pup.
Right.
And how are they getting along? Did they get along?
So what I made sure is that before we decided on adopting a puppy, I made sure that I talked to Lily and Rosie about the idea of getting a third one. So Lily was very readily agreed to the idea, while Rosie did not. So it took a couple of days to reassure her that the love that she receives won't be reduced, or we would not neglect her. So that was important. And then after a few days, she did agree and gave us a go ahead. So once Mikey was here, initially they took a couple of days to warm up to each other, and then surprisingly, Rosie has become the favorite playmate of Mikey, and Lily acts as the big brother right now. So that's the equation they're sharing, and it's good to see them interact with each other and respect each other's space as well.
Okay. So tell me, since you have all these psychic powers, I'm going to call it superhuman powers, even though you guys always claim that's innate in us. Do you talk to them when you tell them, when I talk to Pasha right now, he is barking, sitting and lying there, and I say, Pasha, no, be quiet. I'm on doing a live interview right now. Rana will be upset if I don't do it properly. If I was to, would you just tell him in your mind, through your mind, would you tell your dog, no, you have to get along, or how does it work?
So it's a conversation also we have, plus it's like tapping into their higher self. Like when we tap into their higher self, it's like we're communicating directly to their soul. So that's when it becomes much more impactful. So right now when you're talking, it's more like on the physical level. So you're speaking, and obviously they get to know you, the energy, and they can understand what you're trying to say. But then tapping into the soul level, it's a complete different thing. So that's where it gets imprinted when you work on certain aspects, and it stays there with them.
Okay, so we have Mona Lisa who's talking about energy right now, like the way you were talking about right now. So she's saying, do you think dogs bring energy into the house and also take on negative energies? She wants to specially address the whole superstition around getting a black dog in India. So let's take it a part at a time. So let's take the first part.
So the first part, do you think dogs bring energy in the house? So definitely when you get a dog home, they tend to have dogs tend to absorb energy. So when they're coming home, they'll not bring any negative energy per se, but their energy is always very contributing in nature to any house which which they brought home. And
Okay.
and about taking on negative energies, that is true. Dogs have this tendency of taking upon themselves negative energies from the people around them as well as the house. So if the house has negative energies, and they'll take it upon themselves, and they'll try to protect the people around them, the ones whom they love. So that
Okay.
that is very true. I've had cases where this has happened. I'll give you an example as well. This was like very initial stage when I started practicing. I think in the year 2016 or 17. There was a case where there was this Labrador who was falling sick like every 21 days. Once the medicine cycle was over, he had tick fever, I guess, and that cycle was over. His creatinine levels used to shoot up, and kidney, liver function, everything used to go haywire. So that was happening for the last 6 months,
Okay.
and he had become very lean. So there was no answer from the veterinarians. Like they didn't know what to do. The pet parents were like completely out of any solution how to save him. So the lady, she did believe in healing, and then when she got to know about me that there's somebody who can work on animals as well, she got in touch with me. So what we
Okay.
figured out, so this is something which I had taken help of Kamal as well in that at that time, because in this included spirit as well. So there were spirits around the dog, negative
Okay.
spirits that feed on energies. So that is where we had to, take out that spirit and release it to the light. That is when the dog started healing. Of course, then we worked on other aspects as well. And within a month or so, that relapse thing of health relapse was not happening, and he's now touchwood a very healthy dog. That time he was I think 6 or 7 years old. Now he's going to be 10, I think.
Wow. So tell me,
Yes.
like, we before we also had Mehnaz who asked us, there's this, there's a lot of negative stereotypes for black cats and the kind of response people, especially in India and maybe some places abroad also have about black cats. So can you speak a little bit about that?
See, according to my experience working with black cats, black dogs, there is nothing. This is just a superstition that people have in their mind, and something
Okay.
that has come from through a very long history that a lot of religious beliefs as well. So there
Uh-huh.
is nothing like a black cat could cause danger, or a black, if you bring a black dog and take care of that black dog, you will have prosperity. Nothing of that sort. It's like you're just giving home to a new kid. So there is nothing of that sort. It's just superstitious. Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I've had the pleasure of spending a lot of time with cats as well, because I grew up in a house full of animals, and uh, they were everywhere, and we were very happy to have them with us. Unfortunately, they have this reputation, especially cats. And I wish that people were a little slightly more open to it. But we need more people like you. We need people, animal communicators. We need psychics, and we need people who can help the public at large. And that's why we
Right.
have all our audience members tuning in today. Thank you so much for doing that. We have Karthik who said that we are underutilizing our pets, our dogs, and they bring so much. They contribute so much to us, and
Definitely.
and so much we can learn from them.
Hmm.
Uh, Anyways, coming back to you, Hussein, can you, you speak a lot about the emotional state of animals, or about, you mentioned something for us to talk about psychosomatic issues. Can you tell us what exactly that is, even though that's right here, and also womb imprinting? So
Yeah.
speak a little bit about that.
So, so I the way I look at emotional issues or emotional parameters, there are broadly 3 to 4 topics that are there. So the first one is womb imprints. Now, what are womb imprints? That is something which is there in humans as well. So,
Yeah.
if you see when females are pregnant, we ask them, to watch all the good things, eat all the good things, live in a very positive environment. Why do we do that? Because it's the imprints that are being built in the child which is in the stomach, right? So similarly, when dogs, when they are in their mother's womb, what experience that does the mother dog go through, that has a very big role in how the child is born with, like what kind of personality is he born with, what kind of memory experience does he carry with himself. So I'll give you an example of say if I had worked on a case where there was this dog who had a lot of issues when it comes, when it came to thunders and rains. So what we figured out was that when that dog was in the womb of the mother used to. So it was a case from Bombay. So it was that gestation period was during the rainy seasons, and the mother itself, she was a timid dog. Plus, it was a very traumatic experience when she gave birth to the kids. That is the period when it was thundering and it was raining. So
Yeah.
that experience itself had a very strong impact on the dog, which
Yeah.
that impact he carried on as the dog grew. So when we worked on that, is when we saw that that being fearful. So first few sessions we saw that the when it was raining, he started being more comfortable with rains, and with as we progressed, we saw that even when it thunders earlier, he used to start shivering and start salivating, but then those things went away. So slowly he became more comfortable.
So, yeah, can you talk us a little bit about the applications of using it? Let's say someone came to you and said, "Can you speak about the emotional state of my animals?" And you give
Mm.
us this example about womb imprinting.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about applications? So maybe some of our viewers, even somebody like me, can figure out how best to approach it with our own animals.
Okay. So, see, we need to be more, as pet parents, we need to be more aware of what our pet is going through. See,
Hmm.
we need to understand what are the issues that they're going through and get more information about uh, them, like what has their childhood been, where have they come from. If we get a bit more of that, we'll understand that what could be the triggers of these issues. Apart from
Yes.
that, obviously, they pick up on our emotions and our feelings as well. So if I'm an angry person, there's a very high possibility that the dog would become aggressive or show signs of aggression.
Hmm.
And if in terms of emotions, now what are psychosomatic issues is when these emotions, they turn into physical illness. So say if a dog is having is very aggressive,
Uh-huh.
or is not aggressive but his pet parent is very aggressive.
Uh-huh.
So there is a high possibility of that dog manifesting this aggression into a issue of kidney or liver. So that is something that I've seen in most of the cases where there
Uh-huh.
is a pet parent who has anger issues. The dog tends to have kidney and liver issues. Anger
Okay.
and fear. These two are very strong emotions which very easily impact the dogs.
Mhm. So, I mean, these are also in line with some of our science-based, people who've done a lot of research on this, and our trainers who have come on our channel before. They speak
Mhm.
about how your attitude or the attitude of the trainer, the attitude of the pet
Mhm.
parent, kind of imprints onto the dog. And I think you're
True.
also alluding to the same fact.
Yeah.
So they are in a way connected. And but you're talking about the emotional connect over here is what I'm getting
Right.
from you. And would I be correct to assume that you're speaking about that obviously at a much deeper and meaningful level is what you're talking about?
Right. It also involves physical as well.
Uh-huh.
There are times when somebody who is physically ill. Like I had a case where uh, the urea levels of the dog, urea and uric acid levels are very high. So
Okay.
what we figured out is that the pet parent, the guy who came for this issue, the pet parent had uric acid issues, gout issues,
Okay.
and he used to be he's a very fearful person, like approaches things very fearful. So that is why this gout thing manifested in his body, and then the dog manifested this physical ailment in his body as well. So when we
So
worked on that aspect,
that human being, that the pet parent can actually imprint his own disease onto that of the dog, is what you're
yeah,
saying.
yeah,
And some of the illnesses that our dogs suffer could be a byproduct of our own illnesses.
yes. So that is where we need to be more aware of what we are going through as well. If a pet parent is more aware of what I am going through emotionally and physically, I'll be
Uh-huh.
more aware of my pet as well.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's where a psychic healer or an animal healer like you comes in, and you could help our viewers navigate through, because it's a confusing world. We don't have all this information. We are not as
Right.
experienced, not at all experienced, in fact, in this. And whereas we are looking at it, we would need the help of experts like yourself to navigate through this journey of keeping an animal, keeping a pet, who are almost like family members to us. And
Hmm.
we spoken at length about how they mirror us and how they take on some of our own suffering. Can
Hmm.
you, some of our viewers have been asking, and you also spoke a lot about a slightly more practical application of your services, finding lost pets. Uh,
Hmm.
let's talk about that. I think a lot of people are interested. So let's. Can you take us through the process? How does it happen? What is your? Is there something called a success rate, if something like that even exists? And
Hmm.
talk a little bit more about that.
So, with respect to lost animal cases, that so there is a methodology that I follow. Like that is something that I have channeled all by myself. That is, when I started practicing healing in 2015, 16,
Uh-huh.
there was like it came all through, when I was in a deep state of meditation.
Uh-huh.
It's an information that came through me that this is how I should work on lost pet cases. And that's
Okay.
when my journey started with lost pet cases, and since then it's like uh, there have been a lot of cases which I've worked on. So the success rate, you can say, out of 10 cases, uh, 6 to 7 at least, we are able to find the dog or the lost pet. Any, it could be a cat as well, is
No, of course.
comes back. So that's the success rate. And the rest of the cases, what happens is that there are a lot of situations where the lost pet does not want to come back as well, or there are situations where the karmic journey of that pet with that pet parent has come to an end and has to move on and move to a different place, and at times they even cross over. So those are the cases as well which we come across. So I'll give you a gist about
And this is
how.
across. Sorry to interrupt you. This is across different animals. Like my mother over here is asking, does it work with birds? I would imagine it's across different animal groups.
Yes, yes. I've worked with a bird. It was a lost parrot. So I remember that case, though the parrot did not come back,
Uh-huh.
but we did get some information about what happened, and why did the parrot went go away. So it
Okay.
is, yeah, it's possible across other animals as well.
Okay, okay, that's interesting. Anyways, you were talking a little bit more about the process and all that, and
Yeah.
how do you go about doing something like this?
So the approach that I take is the first step. So when a pet is lost,
Uh-huh.
we know that emotionally they go through a lot. Like they are scared, they are fearful in nature. They do not know what to do. They're confused out there, right? Because they've always been being indoors, like most of the cases. And so my important first step is to tap into the energetic space and understand how are they doing physically and emotionally. That is the first step. So
Mhm.
if they're emotionally very worried or scared, we so the next step is to send them healing so that they can at least calm down and fend for themselves, so that there is no mishappening that occurs out there when they're out there. The second
Uh-huh.
step is where I tap into the energetic space of the whole situation which has been created out of, a pet being lost. The
Uh-huh.
pet parent, family members, whoever is involved, they're like, they're very scared and they do not know where to go, what to do, right? So
Yeah.
it's all negativity that is uh, around there. So what we do is that we tap into that energetic space and clear those energies, so that at least things start rolling and things start working. So it's like filling up a positive vibe. So it's like there's an way technique that I do of filling up positive vibes. Now the third thing is, which is where I tap into the divine energies and
Uh-huh.
seek for any information in any form that could help the pet parent. So that is
Uh-huh.
where I receive information in the form of visuals, in the form of smell, in the form of hearing, in the form of feeling, and that is something that I convey to the pet parent that helps them, understand that which route can they follow to look for the pet. So, like
Okay.
I remember in one case, I had when I was doing the session, I could smell Chinese food.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I told the pet parent that I'm like there was a very strong smell of Chinese food. So look for a Chinese maybe restaurant or some place
Okay.
which the dog might be around. So luckily, after like the person after 2 days found the dog near a Chinese restaurant.
Wow.
so
It would
so
have
these
been
are
quite
some,
a good life. They would be with following you now and be thankful to you for life to have their
yeah,
animal back.
yeah, it's a very grateful feeling, and even I'm like, it's a very overwhelming feeling when you get to know that they found the pet. It's like uh, I sometimes have tears in my eyes when I get that news from the pet parents. Like it's a very wonderful feeling to contribute to their lives in such big ways. Like
No,
I'll also,
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, the emotional distress of losing an animal for us, my wife and I, we treat our animals like our children, and for the life of us, we can't imagine them being on their own. My dog and my wife's dog can't be on their own. They won't survive a day. They don't have the skill set, and that's because we have brought them up like that, and that's our biggest worry every day. Like what will happen, and how will they fend for themselves? So I can imagine the worry that a pet parent will go through, and that's very important to have people like you in the system to help us navigate that world and to help
yeah,
us get our pets back if we are lucky.
yeah,
Someone
I
here, Rachna Lantin, who's talking about Ashley and Chinese food. Is that your client you're speaking about?
yeah. Ashley is one dog which was lost.
Uh,
So we managed to find. So this is she's from Bangalore, and she works with she's an animal activist, animal rescuer. So she works, helps, feeds animals, and helps them out there. So Ashley was one of the dogs which had got missing from near Cubbon Park. So we had worked
okay.
on that. Yeah.
So how long is this process? Let's say someone calls you up and says, "Hussein, look here, I lost my dog. Help." What do you ask for?
So there are a few details that I asked for. So the basic information of the photograph, the name. If it's a pet dog, a home dog, then I also ask for the family members, the other dogs that are there in that energetic space in the house. I also ask for a brief of how the dog got lost, because that helps me set an intention as well for the session. And I also ask for the location from where the got lost, because I use that location as well to. There's another technique that I use where
Uh-huh.
I release energies in all directions from that location, and then I communicate to the pet to try and tap into these energies that I've released and follow that direction. So I've seen that in many of the cases, this helps in the pet coming back to the place on their own. So that is one amazing technique that I've discovered, and it's touchwood working really well. So once they share the information, it takes. So what I do is I give a gap of 3 days. Like we do a session each for 3 days,
Okay.
and because see dogs or cats, they're moving all the time when they're outside.
Uh-huh.
So we need more information to reach to them. So I prefer giving at least 3 sessions
Uh-huh.
for lost pets. We back to back 3 days, so that it's we have more information, and that helps them find the pet, or at least the pet coming back.
So, I mean, and how long is these sessions? How long do they
Any,
last?
Anywhere between 30 minutes to 1 hour. At times it crosses 1 hour as well.
Okay. So you, I mean, obviously it's you. Is the pet parent involved in this, or is just you doing your thing?
No, it's just me doing the thing. For lost pet cases, obviously, it's just me doing the thing. For other
Uh-huh.
healing sessions where we are doing it at distance, there are
Uh-huh.
certain things that I ask the pet parents to do, and I always want the pet to be on their own in a particular room. So there's a technique that I use there as well, where I can connect to them at distance and do the healing work.
Can you have you ever? My mom is asking. Have you ever had the ability to direct the animal or the pet back home?
Yes, we have. I have had cases where the pet dog or the pet cat has come back home on their own.
Okay, okay. So on their own, huh? So that would be fantastic for the and how long has that period been? Like, have they been missing for days, hours, or even longer?
So the longest, if I could remember, was around 5 to 6 days, I think, and that was
Okay.
a cat, I think, that had come back after about 6 days.
Wow. Okay. So and cats are known notorious for hanging around for. This is a house cat,
Yeah, this was a house cat. So
not
if
one
it
of the.
was an indoor outdoor cat, then
Okay.
definitely you know that the cat may be wandering around, and sometimes they come back even after 7 days, 10 days as well, because they loiter around and
Oh yeah,
you.
I know.
But this was a yeah, house cat.
We have a cat that comes and goes to the my dog. Maybe you can because we're friends now. So maybe you can speak to my dog and tell him to stop chasing cats. We have a cat that comes to our house to the area that we stay, and she goes up to the terrace, and she comes down and she teases my dog. My dog's main aim in life is to catch the cat, catch any cat, and he hates, like right now he's looking at me, he's thinking cat. No, I have to catch the cat. So please talk to him, tell him to take it down a notch. He doesn't have to, and he never really bitten or never hurt any animal in his life. But he thinks that's his agenda to get a cat. Anyways,
Uh,
coming back to this is great. So people can contact you. They guys, please. We have Hussein's. I'm just going to put his information on online. There you go. His Instagram handle is there. We'll also have his contact details up soon. Please contact him directly. If you have a lost animal, contact him. He'll be able to help you out. If you need any information about psychic information about your dog, your cat, or any other pet, contact Hussein. Hussein also has one more skill set among many of his others, is that he is able to communicate with a deceased pet,
right.
and with a pet that is passed over. Let's speak a little bit about that.
So when we talk about deceased pets, it's more like uh, the parents are grieving at that moment. So and when they lose their pet, it's like the guilt and the feeling of maybe I could have done better, or maybe I could have taken better care of my pet. That thing amplifies the guilt, the grief, and
Okay.
a lot of times pet parents are not able to move out of it, and they need some external help, and also situations like on what kind of situation led to the demise of the pet. So
Uh-huh.
that also plays a very important role. Like if it's a sudden thing, it gives the pet parent a shock. They're not ready to let go of the pet. So that's one thing. So how we go about it is that we help the pet parent connect to the deceased animal, and there's a
Okay.
two-way communication, like something which the pet parent wants to communicate or ask the deceased pet is conveyed to the soul of the pet, and along with that, that is whatever messages I receive from the soul is conveyed to the pet parent. So I'll give you a very, like I have a very interesting example. Like this was one of the best, for me, it was one of the best mediumship session that I had. Where, so see, obviously it's a very, it's something that we cannot give you a proof of, like I'm connecting to your animal. I can't show you that, right? But definitely the message that we get, that itself should have some kind of validation to why, how, as a pet parent, you should be able to understand, okay, this message is from my pet, right? So one of the sessions that I did, so in that, like we got a lot of validations. Like I remember the girl, she sent me a list of, okay, these are the things you couldn't have known, and these things are what you've picked up on. So some of them was like her father, he used to sing, like he enjoyed singing, so he used to record in one of the applications, and the dog used to sit there and listen to him singing. So that is something that I picked up. Okay, I miss him singing. So whatever his name, I missed singing, listening to his songs, something of that sort. And then the lady's mother, she was very fond of running, going for runs, morning runs. And he used to wake up and be there to see her getting ready and going out, stepping out. So these information gave them a validation. Okay, yes, this is the dog. Yet the information, the message that we receive is from our dog, our deceased pet. So somehow, so what I tell the pet parents is that they need to be open to receiving. They need to surrender themselves and be open to any possibilities. When they do that is when they start receiving. That is when I will also start receiving. There have been cases where the pet parents are not very open, or they don't really want to get into it. It's just that somebody has recommended, so let's try it. So that's something which does create a block in the energy as well. So it's like you are being the barrier to what your dog or your pet is going to receive.
Yeah, that's interesting. So you have the ability, but obviously, what you're trying to tell our audience members and our guests are that they have to be open to the possibility, because a lot of people have come with skepticism, and maybe
Yeah.
you have to remove that and then get to contact you. So that's an interesting point, because you have to be open to the fact to be able to do that. It's interesting that because there are so many unresolved issues that people have. People want to communicate with their ancestors. They want to communicate with their people who have passed over. And I can imagine people want to communicate with pets that have passed over. It's a very interesting, albeit a bit sad, but it can give a lot of closure as well to
Yes.
the emotional state of the
It's an
pet
idea.
parent to
Yeah.
move on. We have Mehnaz who's asking, do you conduct workshops, and is that part of your future goals? If are you doing that right now, or are you planning to do that?
No, I've not yet started teaching. So, but
Uh,
yeah, like I'm working on this. It's a good question. I'm working on this, and touchwood, inshallah, we'll be, rolling out some workshops soon. So I'm
is it going to
working
be?
on it.
Would it be like a mixed workshop with you and your mentor together? With when you doing this together, it would be interesting. I maybe a lot of people can benefit from these workshops. I think,
Yes.
and they
So,
don't have to do it. They don't have to do it professionally, just to be enable them to work with their pets better.
right, right. That's the main idea, that if even if you can uh, gauge into your own pet's energetic space and understand them in much better way, And
Uh-huh.
how does it get any better than this?
Hussein, thank you so much. We had you here for about an hour. We are just about to let you go. Thank you for taking time. Before you go, you had told us a little bit about some of the other techniques.
Right.
Something about Bach flower therapy. Can
Yeah.
you tell us a bit more about that?
So Bach flower therapy, these are 38 different flowers. Uh, each has a unique property of working on a particular emotional aspect.
Okay.
So uh, my thing is I've done the level one course for that, and
Okay.
the advantage that I have is that I'm already able to tap into their emotional space. So I
Uh-huh.
can understand that what flowers would help them in a particular area. So in a lot of my healings, I use back flower therapy as well. So,
Okay.
and in general, if say somebody wants to, like I'll share a few tips. Like if a dog is, say, if you're getting a new dog home, or you're moving to a new place, or you're traveling, then walnut is one of the remedies that should be used. Or
What? Walnut.
walnut, yeah. So it's a back flower therapy. It's
Walnut
a
is
flower.
in the nut. Walnut.
No. This is different. So these are made from flowers. These
What
are
exactly is it?
it's walnut back flower therapy. Walnut is the flower.
Okay. What about,
So
like, I'll ask you again, I'll be selfish and I'll ask you a quick question. What if my dog barks a lot?
so see, here we'll need to tap into the reasoning. What is the reason why the dog is barking, right? First,
He
we
likes
need
to
to
talk.
know that.
I
Could be
know the
that.
reason. He likes to talk. I can understand what my dog is saying. I don't need to be a psychic to understand. I know exactly what he is saying to me. If he
Uh-huh.
wants food, right now he has 10 minutes and he's going to start talking. He's going to say, "Give me my food, human." So he starts shouting at me. So maybe you can help us with that. Or do I
So
have to schedule a slightly more in-depth session with you?
do you think he's more over enthusiast, or he's just more vocal?
I think he's very vocal and he likes to bark. And he, like, if he wants to go out, he likes to bark. If he sees someone knocking, if he hears someone knocking on the door, he likes to bark.
Uh-huh.
Strangers. If he meets another dog, he likes to bark. He doesn't do it always aggressively, but he's a big dog, German Shepherd, so he does can be a bit intimidating.
Okay. What I feel is that he's perfectly all right. He
No,
does.
yeah, I
He's
mean, I know he's all right, but he likes to. I'm just saying, maybe he'd like to soften the blow of his bark a little bit.
uh,
Maybe there
see
is some power or something we
that.
could do.
This is the other angle where we need to understand that does the dog need any kind of alteration in his behavior or not. So here
Fair.
it's I think it's more like he's all right. Like barking. Another thing that I would like to point out is that a lot of pet parents want that their dog does not bark.
Mhm.
But barking is something that helps them open up their chakra system, their throat chakra. It's like that is how they express, right? And that plays a very important role in their health. So a lot of pet parents who have their dogs who do not bark, they need to be more like when you get them as a puppy, you need to be more encouraging. Like we tend to punish them or scold them when they're barking. So that's not a good practice.
Well, I mean, no amount of discouraging Pasha or encouraging him can stop him from barking. There was this interesting technique that I learned that to control a dog when he barks, you have to actually teach him when to bark.
Uh-huh.
It took us exactly 2 minutes to teach Pasha how to bark. I would just do this, and he would start barking immediately. Just that's how
Uh-huh.
my wife taught me this, and she taught Pasha this. It took him 1 minute. I'm not kidding.
Wow.
1 minute to learn. This was 5 years ago. We still at that one command. We've not been able to get him to stop barking. So this is going on, and you contrast that to my other dog, my wife's dog, Muttley, who is a Labrador. And he doesn't bark at all. He's perpetually silent. Like, you hardly ever hear him bark. Like, I've heard him in the last 6 years. He's barked like 10 times, and which
Wow.
is rare. Yeah, and he's a rescue, so maybe
So it's
that's contributed to it
uh,
or something. And he
could
had
be.
a different upbringing. So
Mhm.
it's a contrast of two different personalities.
Personalities.
Yeah, and I feel that because I like to talk a lot, as people know over here now are familiar with, and you probably know now, I speak a lot, and so as you said, maybe it's me imprinting on my dog, and my dog is saying, "Hey, we had an animal communicator who came up earlier, and we were having a session, and I asked her the same question, and this is my favorite question to ask, and she says that's because everybody else everyone else around you is talking, so he wants to talk as well." So I thought that was a very enlightening insight. Made me think that maybe I should stop talking and hear more. So
You need to be a more better listener, and he
to be a better listener. I think good luck with that. I'm trying.
But
I'm trying, and
we are
maybe
good
right now.
listener.
Well, I appreciate your comment. Husain, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us. We are over our time limit. We've been over an hour. I know you're busy. You have a lot of requests, a lot of people who want some time with you. Again, your information I put here. Please, guys, thank you all for joining us. Please give us a thumbs up. It's simple. Just have to do a click of a button. Helps us get great content like this again and again. Please go ahead and subscribe, or in this case, like. This is Hussein's contact information on Instagram, and this right here is his phone number. Give him a call. He's more than happy to help you out. He's fantastic. He comes highly recommended. Hussain, thank you so much for taking the time.
You're welcome. It was a pleasure talking to you, Karan, and thank you, DogSpot, for this opportunity to reach out to more pet parents.
You're very welcome. We are very lucky to have some people like you around, and we look forward. Maybe we can do another session with you soon.
Yeah, we can do some deep dive in certain topics, maybe.
There you go. There you go. There you go. That's for all of you guys. Guys, please stay tuned. We'll have people, and we'll have Husain with us again, and we have live sessions with us every day. Please tune in again tomorrow. But we are very happy to have Husain with us right now. Thank you so much, Husain. Please, good luck with all your future endeavors. Hope to see you again soon. Okay, guys. Thank you for joining us.
Bye. Good evening. Bye.
Bye.